Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu salam ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Quran, Wadurur, the Jutes of Quran Spears. Still reading from Surah Al-Saffat. And in this session, inshallah, we'll begin reading the story of Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam, Prophet Jonah. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن يونس لمن المرسلين. And Jonah was indeed one of the messengers. إذ أبق إلى الفلك المشحون. Remember when he fled to the overloaded ship. فساهم فكان من المدحضين. Then, to save it from sinking, he drew straws with other passengers, of course. He lost and was thrown overboard. فالتقمه الحوت وهو مليم. Then the whale engulfed him while he was blameworthy. We'll go back and explain inshallah. فالتقمه, obviously here the whale engulfed him. I think a straightforward translation will be that the whale swallowed him. Precisely, it's basically almost like a bite, luqma. When you basically iltaqama luqmatan, it's just like as if we talk about one bite, not one bite of him, but the whole person. فلولا أنه كان من المسبحين, had it not been the case that he constantly glorified Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, للبث في بطنه إلى يوم يبعثون. He would have certainly remained in his belly until the day of resurrection, meaning that the belly would have become his grave in the sense of he would be finished. فنبذناه بالعراء وهو سقيم. But we cast him into the open shore, totally worn out, sick. وأنبتنا عليه شجرة من يقطين, and caused a squash plant to grow over him. وأرسلناه إلى 100,000 أو يزيدون. We sent him to at least 100,000 people, based on other narratives about the story of Prophet Yunus, Jonah, peace upon him, elsewhere in the Qur'an. This, for example, I think from Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 87, one would know that he was sent back to his community. There's a question among scholars whether he was sent to them after this story of the whale. It's obvious that he was sent to them even before, and we'll mention that inshallah. فآمنوا فمتعناهم إلى حين. So they believed, his people, so we allowed them enjoyment for a while until they basically their time, their assigned time, ajal, their they lived to their a full life, if you will, until it was their time to die. But they became believers. Now, yes, the Prophet Jonah was one of the messengers, but going to that overloaded ship. Before that, we have to borrow from other narratives in the Quran. We said verse 87 of Surah Al-Anbiya, the prophets would explain the context a little bit more. There the verse begins with وَذَنُّونَ إذ ذهب مغاضبا فظن أن لن نقدر عليه فنادى في الظلمات أن لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فاستجبنا له ونجاه من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين. So the Jonah, Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam, Prophet Jonah, he was upset with his community. And he was upset with them, he was angry with them, frustrated with them, مغاضبا. And he thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will simply let him go, not basically make it difficult for him for abandoning his role. He should have had perseverance, patience, whatever it takes, and not abandon his people. نقدر, it's basically يضيق, basically, so it should not be. This is absolutely not about the ability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he thought because of his own status. Remember the verse that says that if it were not the case فلولا أنه كان مسبحين, so he used to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he fled, the word fled, أبقى, usually you'd say about this slave, أبقى, آبق, someone who simply leaves his master without permission and simply goes away. And obviously there's immediately a body of water deep enough, and since there will be a whale as a part of the story, it cannot be it cannot be a river, an inland, where you have shallow waters deep enough for that you need a boat, but not deep enough for a whale. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is God knows best. So most probably you talk about being on the edge of some large body of water. It could be the Gulf. It has to be large enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa alam. Now, it seemed there were currents, waves. The ship was about to sink. It was overloaded, and they had they drew straws. It's almost like arrows, but doesn't make much difference. Almost like a lottery. And one of them would be thrown overboard. And he lost, and he was thrown overboard to save the ship. In the books of exegesis, they speak about the drawing taking place several times, but every time it was Yunus alayhi salam. But there's nothing that indicates in the text of the Quran that it was several times. Doesn't make much difference. He was thrown overboard, and what happened to him is that a whale swallowed him. فالتقمه, really swallowed maybe already talk about moving from the mouth into the intestines, but فالتقمه, I think he remained in the mouth. Many massive whales have small throats. And when we say massive, I think just some details I would say might help people who do not have much information. The bowhead whale has the largest mouth in the animal kingdom. It measures up to 5 meters long, 16 feet, 13 feet, that's 4 meters high, and 8 feet, 2.5 meters wide. A blue whale has a mouth large enough, it says that it could hold roughly 100 people. Okay. And the jaw of a sperm whale can reach up to 5 meters in length. A humpback humpback whale, of course, can be as wide as 10 feet. So several types, and all of them have massive mouths. From the stories, remember فنادى في الظلمات, from Surah Al-Anbiya, it became dark. You cannot see the light when the whale closes its mouth. And we have several stories of people who nowadays, even with videos, people who were swallowed, and the first thing, it could be a surprise. So you don't expect it. Out of a sudden, a whale comes and swallows you. Probably in a split second, you would know that you are inside the mouth of a whale, but it's dark. It's dark. In one case, someone had diving gear that bothered the whale. So also it takes the whale some time to figure out that you are not a small krill. These are about 6 centimeters. And in one case only, that diver struggled. So he also gave the whale hard time. In all cases that are known, the whale did spit them out. I think one issue is that here we speak about God decreeing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that the whale would swallow Prophet Jonah. So even if we have some information about the whales, and you have a very large mouth, and highlighting the etymology of فَالْتَقَمَهُ as a luqma, and so there was the Prophet Yusuf ended up inside the mouth of the whale. He was blameworthy, but he would constantly, he was amongst those who would praise the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dhikr, musabbihin. It could be like he used to pray. The idea is that he He was not someone who was heedless. Had it not been the case, he would have remained in the belly of the whale, in its belly, the belly of the whale, until the day of judgment, meaning that that would have been the end of his life, and to be like the kind of a grave, and that would be also for a while. Even had he died, that would not be the. At any rate, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alam. As we said, he talk about divine will, to be that he would be uh, in the mouth of the whale. It's divine will that ultimately the whale he cast the Sayyidina Musa onto the open shore, open ara. Really, when you talk about a land that is arid, has doesn't have much, and he was worn out. Uh, and وهو سقيم, it seems that because also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused the squash plant, the pumpkin, whatever to grow over him, because the leaves are large and they provided shade, and it was needed for him to feed him, but also it seems as a until he heals. It could be from the juices from the acid from the whale's stomach. It could be something like that, but at any rate. So in darkness, he prayed, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. He prayed. فنادى في الظلمات أن لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. He repented. He admitted that he was unjust, that he committed a wrong thing by leaving his people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded, and he saved him from that distress. There is also talk among scholars about how long he stayed there. I think the talk about long period is not supported by any text. The experience in itself, is obviously it shocked him. He repented, he prayed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded. So very long stay, maybe not. You don't need to stay for a long time to be shaken. Yes. The other issues, as mentioned earlier, whether he was sent to his people after this incident. Obviously, he was sent to them before that. So before and after. More than 100,000 people. Again, أو يزيدون, It's obviously more than 100,000. And again, the scholars spoke about how many people, uh, more than 100,000. It doesn't make much difference, really. It's more, it's 100,000 plus. And they believed in him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed them enjoyment, ilahin, for a while until it was time for them. In we have a verse فلولا كانت قرية آمنت فنفعها إيمانها إلا قوم يونس لما آمنوا كشفنا عنهم عذاب الخزي في الحياة الدنيا ومتعناهم إلى حين. So that town, that city, they benefited from becoming believers. And specifically the people of Yunus, when they believed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieved them from the punishment, a shameful punishment in this life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed them to enjoyment until a set and appointed time. The narrative shifts now to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because of the polytheists, the pagans of Mecca, of Arabia. They attributed daughters to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while they themselves would not have liked having daughters. And since this is um, a different topic, beginning with verse 149, inshallah we will deal with this topic at the beginning of we'll start with it inshallah at the beginning of the next session. Until then, subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.